Hello and welcome to Midday Update. Coming up are the headlines for the day. 52nd National Day, drone, laser and kite shows to be held in various governorates. Visitors to Oman expected to increase exponentially. Oman Air launches its first direct flights to Phuket Island. Amazon plans to lay off around 10,000 employees this week, according to a report. World population to hit 8 billion people on November 15th. Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman participates in G20 summit in Bali. Qatar World Cup, a step on the road for Germany. Manchester United says that it will consider response after full facts have been established after Cristiano Ronaldo's interview. Those are the headlines. Now for the local stories for the day. On the occasion of the 52nd National Day, drones, laser and kite shows will be held in various governorates of the Sultanate of Oman starting from Friday, November 18, 2022. The General Secretariat for National Celebrations is pleased to announce the following activities on the glorious 52nd National Day at 8 p.m. The sites and dates are as follows. Drones and laser shows will be held in the Sahalatin in the Governorate of Dhofar and Amirat Public Park in the Muscat Governorate on Friday, November 18, 2022. On Saturday, November 19, 2022, drones and laser shows will be held in the Al Khod Dam in Muscat Governorate. Residents of Musandam Governorate can watch the drone shows in Khasab Dabdaba on Monday, November 21, 2022. Kite shows will be held starting at 4 p.m. in Sahalatin on November 18th, Al Azeba Beach on November 22nd, and Sea Beach on November 23rd. The Sultanate of Oman is expected to record an increase of 93% in the number of visitors from global markets during the period from September till the end of 2022, according to Forward Keys International Corporation. Forward Keys International, one of the world's leading travel data and analytics companies, has released the latest flight ticket reservation data for the months of November and December of the current year. The data shows that the Sultanate of Oman is recording a significant increase in performance compared to many tourist destinations in the region. The Sultanate of Oman is witnessing an increase of more than 93% from the beginning of September, which is expected to last until the end of this year, 2022, compared to the same period last year in the number of visitors from global markets, especially from European countries and from the Middle East, as well as an increase of more than 156% in the number of visitors from regional markets. Among the countries from which visitors will be hosted in the Sultanate of Oman is the Republic of Germany, which is one of the largest source markets for tourists to the Sultanate of Oman in the last quarter of 2022, with an increase of more than 140%. German tourists will also stay in the Sultanate of Oman at an average of 8 nights in the Sultanate of Oman. The number of visitors coming to Oman from the Gulf Cooperation Council countries is expected to increase by 196% until the end of the year. The United Arab Emirates is the largest source of tourists to Oman from the Gulf Cooperation Council countries, with an increase of 162% in the number of visitors. Oman Air has launched its first direct flights to Phuket Island in the Kingdom of Thailand. There will be 4 flights per week. Oman Air, the national carrier of the Sultanate of Oman, organized an official ceremony today in the check-in hall for the first class and business class at Muscat International Airport. Oman Air will operate its flights to this island, which is one of the most beautiful national islands in the Kingdom of Thailand, with 4 direct flights per week, making it the second destination of the company after Bangkok Station. Scheduled flights will take off on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays. Abdul Rahman Nasser, Chief Commercial Officer of Oman Air, said that the inauguration of the station comes as part of the Oman Air network expansion program and the high demand for travel between Muscat and Phuket, especially during the peak winter season. Now let's see what Captain Nasser Al Salmi, Chief Operating Officer, had to say.
Today is our first flight to Phuket, starting it, completing with the Thailand as we have a Bangkok, and this is our flight to Bangkok. We'll have 4 times a week. As known, Phuket is a high tourist place to visit it for European and locals here, and we'll have a connecting passenger from Europe, and from local passengers will be traveling there. So this is one of the highest destinations, especially during the winter time. Everyone likes to go to Phuket, and that's why we choose it to start that the flight into Phuket.
Those are a few of the local stories for the day. We'll take a short break and we'll be back with international news. Stay tuned.
You listen.
You talk, we listen.
You got something to say? We want to hear it.
95.4 in Muscat.
And 91 in Salalah.
Music, news, views, and everything in between.
TFM.
TFM.
Let's talk.
Oman's largest online supermarket now has no minimum order limit. From grocery to household items, Rafiq has everything that you want. Enjoy worry-free shopping with over 8,000 products to choose from and get it delivered straight to your doorstep. Rafiq, you order, we deliver.
Welcome back to Midday Update. Now for the international stories. After Meta and Twitter, shopping platform Amazon has now planned to cut down jobs of around 10,000 employees this week, as per several media reports. The layoff is said to be one of the largest job cuts in the company's history to focus on the company's device organization, retail division, and human resources, sources reported on Monday, citing people with knowledge of the matter. However, the exact number of job cuts still remains unknown. Notably, Amazon recorded tremendous profit when the pandemic was at its peak as consumers flocked to online shopping and companies to its cloud computing services. However, earlier this year, Amazon's growth slowed to the lowest rate in 2 decades, and the company faced high costs from decisions to overinvest and rapidly expand. High inflation affected sales of the tech giant to a huge extent, according to sources. Tech giant Amazon entered the race of mass layoffs after Twitter and Meta slashed jobs over the last few weeks to cut expenses and transform business models. Facebook parent Meta announced on Wednesday to slash around 11,000 jobs as part of mass layoffs to cut expenses and transform its business model. Zuckerberg termed the layoffs as some of the most difficult changes the company has made in Meta's history and added that everyone in the company will soon get an email letting you know what this layoff means for you. Moreover, Twitter too announced layoffs after Tesla CEO Elon Musk became Twitter's owner. The world's population is projected to reach 8 billion people on Tuesday, according to UN estimates, which consider this a milestone in human development. The latest projections by the United Nations suggest that the global population could grow to around 8.5 billion in 2030, 9.7 billion in 2050, and 10.4 billion in 2100. The annual World Population Prospect Report released on Monday to coincide with World Population Day also notes that the global population is growing at its lowest rate since 1950, having fallen to less than 1% in 2020. While it took the global population 12 years to grow from 7 to 8 billion, it will take approximately 15 years until 2037 for it to reach 9 billion, a sign that the overall growth rate of the global population is slowing. In 2022, the two most populous regions were both in Asia. Eastern and Southeastern Asia with 2.3 billion people and Central and Southern Asia with 2.1 billion. China and India with more than 1.4 billion each accounted for most of the population in these two regions. More than half of the projected increase in global population up to 2050 will be concentrated in just 8 countries: Congo, Egypt, Ethiopia, India, Nigeria, Pakistan, the Philippines, and Tanzania. Disparate growth rates among the world's largest countries will reorder their rankings by size. According to UN estimates, India is projected to surpass China as the world's most populous country during 2023. Population growth is caused in part by declining levels of mortality as reflected in increased levels of life expectancy at birth. Globally, life expectancy reached 72.8 years in 2019, an increase of almost 9 years since 1990. Further reductions in mortality are projected to result in an average longevity of around 77.2 years globally in 2050. Countries with the highest fertility levels tend to be those with the lowest income per capita. Global population growth has therefore over time become increasingly concentrated among the world's poorest countries, most of which are in the sub-Saharan Africa. In these countries, sustained rapid population growth can thwart the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, which remain the world's best pathway towards a happy and healthy future. Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman participated in the G20 summit in Bali. He's leading Saudi Arabia's delegation at the G20 summit. At the G20 summit, Mohammed bin Salman shook hands with French President Emmanuel Macron and other world leaders. He met with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan on the sidelines of the G20 summit. Upon his arrival at the G20 venue, Indonesian President Joko Widodo greeted Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Indonesia's Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment Luhut Binsar received Saudi Arabia's delegation at Ngurah Rai International Airport in Bali. Saudi Arabia's delegation for the G20 summit led by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman includes ministers and senior officials. Notably, the G20 summit is taking place in Bali on November 15 to November 16, which marks the culmination of Indonesia's presidency. India will assume the G20 presidency from December 1st. World leaders including US President Joe Biden and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have gathered at the G20 venue to participate in the summit. The 17th edition of the G20 summit will extensively focus on key issues of global concern under the theme of Recover Together, Recover Stronger. As part of the G20 summit agenda, 3 working sessions will be held on food and energy security, health and digital transformation. Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's official visit to Pakistan has been postponed, sources reported citing a foreign ministry official. The Saudi prince was scheduled to visit Pakistan on November 21st. The reason for the postponement has not been specified. As per sources, Pakistan's government was optimistic about Mohammed bin Salman's visit despite the political turmoil in the country. Those were the international stories. We'll take a short break and we'll be back with sports news. Stay tuned.
We play, you listen.
You talk, we listen.
You got something to say? We want to hear it.
95.4 in Muscat.
And 91 in Salalah.
Music, news, views, and everything in between.
TFM. Let's talk.
Oman's largest online supermarket now has no minimum order limit. From grocery to household items, Rafiq has everything that you want. Enjoy worry-free shopping with over 8,000 products to choose from and get it delivered straight to your doorstep. Rafiq, you order, we deliver.
Welcome back to Midday Update. Now for the sports news. When Hansi Flick took charge of the German national team on August 1st, 2021, he inherited a side which had just been knocked out of the European Championships at the quarter-final stage by England. On Thursday, the 57-year-old announced his squad for his first major tournament as head coach. Flick's selections contained a few surprises, but he remained true to his word. A new era began in September last year with a change of coach. We haven't had that in Germany since 2006, so that's something significant, Thomas Müller said about the job Flick and his coaching team had done. The early results of his reign may well have contributed to that feel-good factor. 12 goals for and none against in the first 3 games were a flying start. 5 more victories followed, meaning Flick set a record for longest winning streak after taking charge of Germany. When they stepped up a notch against the Netherlands, England and Italy, results were not quite as convincing, with a string of 1-1 draws followed by a 5-2 win over Italy and 1-0 loss to Hungary. Pundits were starting to question performances, but Flick stayed firm. The tight schedule caused by the World Cup being played in Qatar and injuries to key men has given Flick less time to prepare than he would have liked. But it's possible that all of Flick's aims won't be found in Qatar anyway. Though winning is of course important, the development of his team is still the priority, and the long-term goal is the Euros on home soil in 2024. World champions France, Brazil and England are too strong to expect much more. But in order to compete for the trophy in 2 years, young players like Mushao, Nico Schlotterberg, Mukoko or Bella Kotchap can warm up in the Qatar sun. In 2024, they could then provide unforgettable moments in their own country. English football club Manchester United responded via a statement to their star striker Cristiano Ronaldo's interview, in which he hit out on the team and its manager Erik ten Hag, saying that the club has taken note of the media coverage of the interview and will consider its response after the full facts have been established. As per sources, they will have legal advice before deciding how they respond to Ronaldo's remarks on the club and its manager. Manchester United notes the media coverage regarding an interview by Cristiano Ronaldo. The club will consider its response after the full facts have been established, sources quoted a statement from the club. Our focus remains on preparing for the second half of the season and continuing the momentum, belief and togetherness being built among the players, manager, staff and fans, it added in its statement. Ronaldo had hit out at his team and manager Erik ten Hag, saying he had no respect for the manager. Ronaldo, who has made only 4 Premier League starts this season at Old Trafford, revealed how dissatisfied he has been with life at the Premier League club. Ronaldo also stated that he felt he had been betrayed by Manchester United and blamed for everything that has gone wrong at the club, pushing him to feel like a black sheep. After the forward was benched by the Red Devils in the match against Tottenham before the end of regulation, Ten Hag has already dropped Ronaldo this season. Therefore, it is not a stretch to argue that Ronaldo may have already played his final match for the Red Devils as a result of his provocative remarks. Those are the local, international and sports stories for the day. For more updates, stay tuned and keep watching TTV.
You've just heard the live feed from the TTV studios on TFM 95.4. Let's talk.